welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, 4th September 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves had said the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is continuing to put in a good effort in maintaining law and order in the state. The Prime Minister, who was speaking on the issue of crime at a news conference yesterday, acknowledged that gun violence is a matter of concern to him as Minister with responsibility for national security and the police, and insisted that the matter was not being slighted. He said, while being unable to provide details as recently as last Thursday, he met with the police high command to further strategize on dealing with crime and the problem of gun violence.
How do we stop the guns and the bullets coming in? We don't manufacture them. So that's a big issue, because you have a lot of gun-related crimes. And there are some law-abiding people, it has been reported, without the evidence, and I can't say what is being done, but I hear that some fellas who get licensed firearm, some people get licensed firearm and bullets, selling the bullets at $10 a pop. Yes. So in addition to the problem of preventing it coming in, even internally, you have to watch you have to track in detail what is happening in relation to bullets. You see how detailed you have to get to it?
The Prime Minister said the police have had some successes in the arrest of persons suspected of committing violent crimes, and commended the members of the RSVP, that's the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, who go above and beyond the call of duty.
They have stepped up there more than before their patrols. They're police officers, men and women, who have voluntarily given up their leave. They're people who come from the Grenadines to come to St. Vincent to the city to see their families. And they're giving up their leave to do patrols. Commissioner can't talk about the detailed patrols. I can't talk about them either. But believe you me, when the guy who is charged with killing Bishop Enoch, when he was met on the streets in Glen, it's normal police and patrol that picked him up, 2 o'clock in the morning. That sound to you like a police force don't know what they're about? I'm not saying that you don't have some policemen who are not pulling their weight, But I want to commend the Commissioner of Police and the police officers for helping to make St. Vincent and the Grenadines one of the safest countries in the world.
The Prime Minister also commended the firm actions taken by the police in reducing the loud music coming in vehicles and maintaining law and order on the roads of SVG. Additional charge of $3 per hotel room has been put into effect, and hoteliers are awaiting formal notification from the authorities. The additional charge, named the Climate Change Resilience Levy, was announced during presentation of the 2018 budget to accumulate a reserve to respond to weather impacts on the nation. The Hotel and Tourism Association had written asking for the levy to be scrapped or at the very least delayed until 2019. At a news conference yesterday, Finance Minister Camilla Gonsalves said there had been further dialogue with hotels and guest houses whose owners broadly accepted what is now being implemented.
What you saw, what was in the public domain, was one letter from the Hotel Association. I chose not to disclose our ongoing correspondence because I didn't think this was a matter that should be sort of litigated in the press. So there was only this one letter out, which is a series, one part of a series of correspondence. We had a meeting prior to the budget with the hoteliers, and the levy was crafted in keeping with their suggestions, because we had a different idea about the levy. And then after we had some correspondence, I held a meeting with the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Hotel and Tourism Association, where we discussed the application of the levy some more, some of their concerns, some of our concerns, and they were broadly accepting of the levy.
Gonsalves said one of the main concerns which was addressed was the imposition of the levy on persons who had already booked rooms, but they were able to find a way around it. Hoteliers were also concerned about private individuals renting properties on the international firm Airbnb who did not have to pay the levy. He said work is being done to correct this situation.
Some of the hoteliers at the time indicated that they had pre-booked, particularly for the carnival season, and that people had prepaid for the carnival season amounts that did not include this levy. And they were reluctant to go back to those customers to say, oh, I know you paid for it from 3 months ago, 4 months ago, but now we want to add on this money. And I suggested that there would be a workaround in those cases with the Department of Inland Revenue. And there was a workaround in that regard. The levy is in effect, but I understand that the Department of Inland Revenue is still working out some of the logistics of registering some of the facilities and the collection process, because it's a new levy. But the Hotel and Tourism Association is clear that there is a levy, that the levy is in effect, and the Inland Revenue Department is working out the mechanics of the registration and billing processes, essentially. One of the issues that was raised by the hoteliers, a valid issue, was that there are a number of people who are renting their homes, particularly in the Grenadines, but not exclusively, on Airbnb. They build these homes or villas and they rent them on the internet, one night or long stays. And those people are entirely escaping the tax net. They're not paying any taxes of any sort, which is obviously unfair. It's an unfair advantage, and it's an unfair imposition on the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to conduct these types of businesses and not pay taxes. And Inland Revenue and the Ministry of Tourism is working with Airbnb and the other Expedia and the other places where these things are listed online to get better data about how they're rented, so that we can also collect taxes from them. But the short answer is that the levy is in effect, but the mechanics are still being resolved.
When contacted, the president of the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association said they were awaiting official correspondence before commenting. The SVG Teachers Union has set up a negotiating team to recommence talks with the government on a number of priority areas. One of the areas is to deliberate on a new collective bargaining agreement for salary increases for teachers. This was revealed by the union's president, Wendy Bino, in a message to teachers and students yesterday at the start of the new academic year.
Going forward, we seek to start negotiations for a new collective agreement, bargain for salary increase, evaluate prospects for pension reform, support members at their schools to develop advocates, expand the capacity of the union to meet our members' professional needs, promote the union's commitment to excellence in education with high-quality professional development, engagement, collaboration, solid leadership, and ongoing national advocacy for sound education policy, and transform our minds and hearts to work together to build a better SVG.
Bino urged teachers to recommit and rededicate their efforts and time to the children who will be the next generation of educators. She also asked that senior teachers look out for each other, especially those who are new to the profession.
As you know, your hard work and dedication to educating every student is vital to the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let us strengthen our commitment and improve our pedagogy to nurture a generation and to facilitate their path to becoming disciplined creative thinkers and innovators. As a union, we want to ensure those new to the profession feel supported, encouraged and welcome. We want to encourage our more senior educators to act as mentors to those new to the profession.
Bino had a special message for students, bearing in mind the challenges and difficulties they may encounter.
The SVG-TV believes that every student has a fundamental right to an education. Our continued commitment is to help you be the best educators so as to ensure that our children are always one step closer to becoming future leaders and good citizens. To the students who will return to schools at the various levels, we encourage you to set high standards. We urge you not to loiter by the roadsides and bus stops, but to move with purpose, being mindful of the demons of crime and violence. Endeavor to do your best in all of your academic pursuits and become actively involved in your learning.
The SVG Teachers Union's newly installed executive has a 2-year work program which runs to 2020. Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves has commended the firm actions taken by the police to reduce the loud music emanating from motor vehicles and in maintaining law and order on the roads. Using the provisions under the Noise Act, last week the traffic branch began a fresh thrust to clamp down on loud music in vehicles and successfully charged one person in this regard. Several tickets were also issued to offenders. At yesterday's news conference, the Prime Minister said minibus operators in particular have been complying and noise level in Kingstown has changed for the better.
Have you noticed that the minibus men them tone down with their music? You notice that? At the very moment that they tone down is the very moment that me ask a question, what is happening there? Like you're in a mode, if you're in a mode to find fault with everything, you don't even notice what is happening. And there are some firm steps being taken by the police in relation to, they give you a ticket, under the existing Noise Act or inappropriate provision in the law. And if they give you if they come and meet you again with it, they're taking out these, what they call them, some big amplifiers, you know, they of a special kind. I don't know if you're all noticing that these things, and when a fella wanted to be boastful and obstreperous about it, the police pulled him in and did what they had to do. I'm not saying what they are doing. All of these things are happening. And I want to thank the police. The RSVG police force is treating the death of Rodney George, a 50-year-old security guard of Victoria Village, as a homicide. George's body was found around midday last Saturday in the bathroom of the business where he was stationed with stab wounds to the neck. According to the police, the incident took place about 9 hours prior to the discovery of the body. SVG-TV has learned that the discovery was made when someone went to open the bathroom after the key that was usually left for the security to use the facility could not be found. George and 2 other siblings live in the home with his elderly mother, who has limited mobility, and she is said to be having a tough time dealing with the news. Police said the assailant or assailants remain at large and they are conducting investigations into the death. Anyone with information which can help in the investigations is asked to contact the police. The staff at the Georgetown Health Center received a much-needed injection of supplies thanks to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The church yesterday donated several items in support of the efforts of the staff of the facility in providing medical care to patients. A release from the Ministry of Health states that the donations included fans, wheelchairs, stethoscopes, sheets, and other medical supplies
which were handed over at a brief ceremony. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is said to have worked with many organizations worldwide to provide individuals and communities with resources to improve their lives. Elder Michael Fielden said the church was delighted to take part in community service activities. Deputy Administrator at the Georgetown Health Center, Idinga Miller, thanked the church for the donation. 9 children from the region and 7 Vincentians are currently undergoing free corrective orthopedic surgeries at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital. The surgeries are being done under the World Pediatric Project with a specialist from Missouri, USA, and Dr. Eric Gordon. In an interview with SVG-TV News Today, Dr. Gordon said they brought in several pieces of equipment and the surgeries have been going smoothly.
We were able to take care of 5 children yesterday. All of the surgeries went very, very well, and the children are doing very well. We've finished up most of our OR schedule today. We have one final case to do, and everything has really gone very well. The surgeries are pretty large and significant surgeries in many cases, and we've been very fortunate in the sense that we were able to bring down all the appropriate equipment that we needed, and the children are doing very well.
Dr. Gordon listed some of the main orthopedic surgeries he is doing on this mission.
We're doing a lot of surgeries that deal with Blount's disease, problems with bowing in the legs. We are doing a number of different surgeries on patients with myelodysplasia, cerebral palsy, and other hip problems. A lot of orthopedic concerns.
The children undergoing surgery were evaluated at a clinical session held at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital last Sunday. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the WPP Eastern Caribbean, Lauren McIntosh, said that more than 50 persons were evaluated and the severe cases were listed for surgeries. The surgeries would be completed on Thursday of this week. After this mission is completed, follow-up checks will be done on patients by local doctors.
We actually have partner pediatricians in those various Eastern Caribbean islands, and our main pediatrician here, who is Dr. Data, she's our medical director for the Eastern Caribbean. She will reach out to the partner pediatricians in those respective islands for follow-up on how the children are progressing.
This is the second year that an orthopedic mission is being conducted. Last year, 32 patients were evaluated and 15 had surgeries. The World Pediatric Project offers surgical and diagnostic critical pediatric care to children of the Eastern Caribbean in collaboration with the various ministries of health and surgeries performed in SVG.